Hi, folks. Welcome to your world with Prakash Kapila. This episode, we are going to talk about three things. One is the tariff, the other one is the Fed rates, and the third one is who is not affected by tariff. Let's go with Fed rates and why it is important. So, as you know, your world with Prakash Kapila deals with the issues and events that affect the world. And the Federal Reserve affects the world, every part of the world. It is much more effective than any other systems that US has created as of now. Uh, it all starts with what the Federal Reserve System does, or any central banker does. A central banking system is created to ensure that the banks have the liquidity and the money to run and do their operations. So they give a particular interest rates to the banks, and the banks give a little bit higher interest rates to everybody they try to give the loan to. So therefore, this difference is what creates the thing called spread, which is going to help the banks get more money. So money gives more money. That is with the help of the spread. So the interest rates of any country are dependent on the underlying economy and the external economy, external forces that are working on that economy. So, for example, you have the economy, internal economy of buying and selling between each of the businesses, and then you are doing export and import, right? Export and import. So when the interest rates of exports and imports are directly dependent on three currencies. What are these three currencies? These are euro, Japanese yen, and then dollar. These are the three currencies on which 96% of the trades happen for the foreign exchange. So that is why India buys dollar. That is why Germany buys euro. That is why China buys yen, euro, and dollar. So they have a lot of dollar reserves. Why do that dollar reserves happen? Because the imports that are happening and the exports that are happening from a country is totally dependent on the external dollar or the external currency through which people are the buyers and the sellers, they agree on one particular currency, and therefore the transaction happens on that currency. So the currency is directly dependent on the central bank. So Indian currency rupee is dependent on central bank. They have the ability to release more currencies or withhold more currencies. That is the basic objective of central bank. That's called monetary policy. Okay, so this monetary policy is important. The federal monetary policy controls the movement of dollars and the interest rates through which the dollar is interacted by the other currencies. Okay, so whenever there is a change in the interest rate, the dollar keeps rising or falling. Okay, so what is the amount of dollars that the world needs per day? Per day, there is $8 trillion of foreign currency trades that happen across the world. What is the per day transactions happening in stock market of say New York Stock Exchange? Close to 60-70 billion dollars, right? Per day. But the currency rates, the currency fluctuations, even a small fluctuation is going to be a huge money. So 0.0005 change, right, in a currency is going to be like $1 million spread. No, spread is basically what the bank is getting and what the bank is giving. So a small 0.001 is called 1 basis point. That 1 bip is with just 1 bips the currency trades happen. That's a separate thing altogether. So when a Fed is increasing the rates or decreasing the rates, it affects the bond market. What is the bond market? Bond market is like 5-year treasury, 10-year bond, 5-year bond, 10-year bond, 30-year bond, 15-year bond, like that, 7-year bonds. So bond is basically, bonds and stocks are two different things. So bond is the promise to give a particular sum of amount of money after certain period of time. Say after 2 years, if the interest rates is like 5%, right? After 2 years, if you put $100 in that, then you will get 4% per annum, for example, 4.5% per annum. Then it means you are getting around $1 for every $100 you are getting $110 in 2 years. That's how the 2-year interest rates with 4% roughly 4.5% roughly will give you. So when the rates are changing, the rates of the Fed and the bond rates are always like this. Okay, the rates are whatever Fed rates and the bond rates. So the bond rates will always be more than the Fed rates, and therefore any raise of the rates, the yield goes bigger. So it is inversely proportional. If a lot of people are buying stock, the value of stock grows up, right? But if a lot of people are buying bonds, the amount of money that the banker is giving will be reducing. Why? Because there is more demand. There is no need for someone to give it more. For example, you are taking loan, okay? One guy is saying 10%, the other guy is saying 8%, the other guy is saying 7%. Where will you go? 7%, of course. So that's how, if more people are buying into the bonds, the yields will fall. And when the rate and the yields are like very close to each other, that means it's a problem. So if the bond yields are going down, then the rate has to go down. But usually it doesn't happen. Usually what happens is the bond rates are more and the Fed rates are less. Therefore, the interest rates determine those things. So the other thing that's important for a Fed rate, is that all other currencies, all other countries are buying this dollar and buying the bonds, buying the treasuries. That's what we do. That's what the others do. Why? Because India has to trade with, say, Germany. Okay, Germany has mark, Deutschmark, and India has rupee. So rupee doesn't work there, and therefore the Deutsch guy or the Germans would say, "Hey, I want it in Deutsch," and the Deutsch is not there with India, so they buy using dollar. So dollar to Deutsch they can transfer, and dollar to rupee Indians can transfer. So therefore the dollar has become a medium of the goods and services. Goods coming from each country has the dollar as a medium, so that each country can transform that. So therefore any change in the interest rate is going to affect the dollar, and it is going to affect you, because your imports, your exports, what your daily rate with respect to dollar is going to change your lifestyle. For example, if oil is falling, right? How does oil fall? Oil is falling because the dollar value is increasing, and oil being stable. If dollar value is increasing, the value of the oil will keep decreasing. So that means if the dollar power is more, you can buy more oil. So therefore oil prices decrease. So that's why dollar affects your oil, your transportation, your electricity, your wherever you are. It doesn't matter which part of the world you are. It affects your transportation, it affects your export, it affects your imports, it affects the oil pricing, it affects the um, all goods, right? Because vegetables, all food that you are eating, it has to be transported, and transported you need oil. So if the oil is changing, then the value of the goods are also changing. There is direct relationship between oil and other goods. So oil and dollar have got direct relationship. If dollar is increasing, oil is decreasing. So therefore, if oil is increasing, it means the dollar value is also decreasing. If you compare like that. Therefore, any change in the interest rates by Fed is going to affect everybody in the world. I don't, whether you are a shop owner, whether you are rickshaw puller, whether you are a laborer, more so for people who are at the down at the lower end of the salary or the economic range, they have more effect of it. So if the price of diesel is reduced, then the driver is going to say 10 paise gets reduced. The driver who is transporting the vehicles, transporting the goods through a vehicle, is able to save around 500 rupees in one trip. From one state to another state, and that's a huge amount for daily wage workers, right? So therefore, whatever is the price that the Fed decides is going to affect everybody, whether you like it or not. It's immaterial. The whole global trade works like that. So what is happening? President of United States has asked the Powell to reduce the rate. Powell said the economy is going strong, the labor market is strong, I cannot reduce. So why is this so important? It is important because reducing of rates means more supply of money, and when the more supply of money is happening, then the inflation will rise. Why? People keep on buying and spending and buying. So again, the interest rates have to come and it has to pull back. So what Powell is saying is the economy is at good pace. If I reduce the rates, the pace is going to increase. So this is the pace. These are the rates. If I decrease the rates, the growth keeps, the availability of money keeps more, and therefore inflation goes up. And inflation is the biggest worry about everybody, because if you take Argentina, if you take Brazil, if you take erstwhile Soviet Union or Iran, what happens is there is a lot of interest rates, so the value of money keeps reducing. What you can buy last week, the same thing if you have to buy now, it is going to be costly more. Venezuela is a very big example where the value of the currency is falling, or every week they feel the pinch, particularly people who are in the lower level of the workforce, daily wage workers, laborers, teachers, primary school teachers, all those people. They as salaried people, they all have this sensitivity towards the inflation, higher sensitivity we call it, because you have to eat every day, you have to buy that milk, you have to buy that bread or roti, all those things you have to buy anyways to survive. So if the value of them is going up, your savings is going down. So therefore it affects you directly, and you will say, I am not able to earn more money, I need more money, I need more money. That kind of pressure will be there, and that is very bad for the economy. So what will the Fed chairman has said is not going to reduce the rates because the unemployment is not high, high in the sense more than 4% or 4.5%, and the growth rate is at 2.5%. So the growth and inflation, again, the growth has to be more than inflation, otherwise there will be stagflation. So that is another big thing that we will talk later. So therefore now the Fed rate is, as of now, has not changed, and therefore your life is also going to be more or less similar the next week, because the dollar is not going to go up and down crazily. So that apart, now comes the biggest thing called tariff. Okay. So because of tariff, who is what is happening for tariff? Tariff means the goods are coming into US, and then what they are doing is they are creating a more money, the value of the good is, say for example, this much. What they are doing is, with the tariff it becomes this much. So the price the person pays will go up. This is the total goods. If the tariff is like this, the price the person pays is more, with the sales tax added towards that. So tariff plus sales tax. It's not like sales tax is before tariff. So the price of the goods is increased by tariff, and then the sales tax, and then the price. So immediately the value of the goods are going to increase. So whatever is the payment for a bread, say, is $1, it will become $1.20 or $1.30. So where does this affect? This affects to people who are daily wage workers, who are really struggling on their day-to-day basis. So for that reason, the tariffs are a double-edged sword that is not given to all the things. So few vegetables or necessary things, there is no tariffs. But whereas the manufacturing goods or the higher level goods, there is tariff. So manufacturing goods doesn't mean only big cars. It can also be soaps, right? So soaps, shoes, clothes, all those things are imported, and then with the tariff, the value, the price of the good is changed. So therefore the situation becomes very difficult, and then the inflation rises. As soon as the inflation rises, what happens? The Fed rate will also have to rise. So what Powell is saying is that we don't know how much the effect of tariff on the inflation is. Therefore, we are not going to change anything. So tariff is like a one-time shock to the customer. So when the customer thinks that, okay, the tariff is more, I can't pay, what they will do? They will try to push their purchase locally. Also, when the price is more, the local companies will think that the price is more. If I can do this with this price, then maybe I'll get some money. So it's all about profit and loss. Okay, if the price of the good is more and I can create it with a lesser price, then I get profit, right? This is the profit I can get. So therefore the local businesses will improve is theoretically given, and it has precedence, like before 1933, around 18th century and 19th century beginning, what happened? There were a lot of tariffs, and the local goods in US were not as competitive as what Britain was sending to America. So what they did was they increased the tariff. That created a level playing field to the local manufacturers, and they started producing the goods so that they can get profit. There is a small catch in this, and that catch is there was no sales tax during that time. So the amount of money that government was getting was very limited. US tax laws have been very less during a long time. So therefore, the sales tax was not there, the income tax was not heavy, and therefore the government was getting a lot of money with the tariff, and they used that money to develop internally. But the amount of money that government spends and the result that the government gets is always diminishing. Why? Nobody knows why. I mean, a lot of people say it's corruption, it's laziness, so many other things come into picture which are out of our scope. It requires another thing. So I have a thing called foreign currency. I have to do one more time. And why government should not spend, what is the government spend, that also these are two topics that I will discuss further in some other episodes. But this episode we are only focusing on the tariffs and the Fed rate. So there was a period when tariff was helpful to the government and tariff was helpful to the businesses. But slowly the government itself reduced the tariff. After 1939, around 1950s, they just said, okay, no tariff, almost no tariffs. Why? Because as soon as the goods and services are increasing, the quality of goods and services are increasing, more and more businesses keep on coming. So the quality of goods that are coming in as imports and the quality of goods that can be developed indigenously, if they keep increasing, then the imports will go away. So depending on the tariff is counterproductive, and therefore they said, okay, we'll remove the tariff. And why is it counterproductive? Because one, it destroys the innovation, right? If the person has to develop something at a cheaper and better quality, they will look at the tariff and say, hey, I don't want it. The classic example of that is Indian car industry. Okay, Indian car industry has been stagnant like anything. It was growing on a linear basis, and all other car companies across the world have gone up heaps and bounds. Kia, Hyundai from South Korea, and then Toyota, Honda, Japan, and then BYOD from China. They have started getting into the world domain. I mean, Toyota was there for a long time, and then Kia and Hyundai, literally, they have swept out India, Pakistan, Middle East, and all other places. So why the tariff India has a lot of tariffs for automobile industry. Even with those tariffs, they are able to create a better and better cars, whereas Indian companies are not able to outsmart them. Compete is not going to work. You have to be better than them. You have to, if Kia provides 100, you should be providing 200, same price. Then you are in the game. That's what BYOD has done for BMW, Mercedes, Tesla, and it provides bigger amenities, features than these cars. So therefore, a lot of European companies are struggling to compete with BYOD. And there is another aspect for that also. Like China has this state policy of investing in companies, and it becomes a venture capital. And therefore, what the other companies are saying is you have disproportional nature of development and manufacturing. And tariff is also one of the other things that US is proposing to say, for example, if a government is investing, then your costs have decreased. Whereas these guys who are not getting government investments, their cost is same. So when this differential of cost is going to directly be proportional, directly going to affect your profit. So when government invests money into private companies, those private companies have more power to do the innovations, to do the R&D. Provided they put this into R&D and innovations, it'll help. And China was able to do that very successfully in all the companies. Solar, now it is, as Indian, we all should be very upfront that China has developed a lot. Okay, what can we learn from it? How can we improve on it? Is what we should be thinking. We should not be thinking, oh man, that is bad guy. We are doing this, they are doing that. So therefore they are bad and we are good. That doesn't work because money doesn't care. Okay, money goes to the places where innovation is there, discoveries are there, more features are there. So this comes to the final part of our thing. Who is not affected by this tariff, right? Which companies can actually say, we don't care. You can put whatever tariff you want. There are few companies, and those companies are IT companies. So, for example, we have a intelligent person sitting in Bangalore doing software or development or discoveries. Then all the company that is in US can pay more and more and more. They do that, right? For good guys, for good people who are having a lot of knowledge, they pay more. So knowledge is the one thing that can get you more money, and therefore IT industry that is heavily dependent on knowledge. Say for example Microsoft, Meta, Microsoft, and then Nvidia. Nvidia is affected by tariff because the goods and services that Nvidia goods and services that Nvidia is trying to give is being obstructed. Okay, so Nvidia apart, so all these IT companies like Sycamore, Palo Alto, all the Bay Area companies, most of them, IT companies, they don't care about tariff because tariff is not going to affect them, and the goods and services that they are giving are going to be more. Google is another one. So Meta, Microsoft, Google, and not Tesla. Tesla is having a tariff impact. Apple is having a tariff impact, and those big companies that are not totally software companies, they are affected. But pure software players like Oracle, Microsoft, Meta, Palo Alto, Sycamore, all those guys, they are not affected at all. Like Palantir, PLTR, and the other companies in UK like Gorilla Trades, Gorilla companies, GRR, I think it is. So MSFT is Microsoft, and it has literally gone way high than anything else. It has combined cloud, AI, and all those things. So it is doing good. So if you look into what the financial week has happened, last financial week, we see that the statements from Powell, the tariffs, all those things don't affect these companies. All other companies are like dancing up and down with what is happening with the news and all those, but these companies are like, okay, I don't care, let me move. So that's it for now, folks, and I'll see you next week with good information about what happened the next week.